Good evening, everybody. This is another episode of Torrential Tom. I am your host, Torrential Tom. And we're going to get right into it with news from this week of the record $20 billion disasters. 2020 set a record of 22 disasters in the United States that were worth over $1 billion of damage. We move into our top three on the list. Number one on the list was Hurricane Laura, which was a major Category 4 hurricane when it came ashore on the Gulf Coast. It made landfall in Louisiana. Cost $19 billion. This is just a quick picture to show some of the damage. You could see a tall building with most of the windows blown out. It's annex part of the building with all the windows blown out, and then you could see most of the ground. The grass was stripped off the ground, a lot of dirt showing, a lot of trees stripped of their leaves, and that damage was widespread across most of the Louisiana coastline and the extreme eastern Texas Gulf Coast. We moved to number two on the list, and this seems to be a yearly thing, the 2020 Western wildfires, which cost $16.5 billion of damage. Very widespread fires this year, which caused major issues. And third on the list was the Midwest derecho, which cost $11 billion. This radar, courtesy of the National Weather Service from Chicago, showing how that derecho developed and formed and got stronger as it moved through Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and Michigan. You could see the derecho as you get a line of thunderstorms. When that comma or that bow shape forms, that's when you have that straight line wind, which is a major issue. You can have winds of 70 to 100 miles an hour. That's basically just a wall of wind. The jagged parts of the front of that thunderstorm line could possibly represent some rotation and some isolated tornadoes. If you're wondering about us here in the Northeast, one storm that made the list that was in the top 10 was Hurricane Isaias, which caused over $1 billion of damage as well. In total, over $95 billion of damage from all storms in 2020, which set the record. Previous record was 16, set in 2011 and 2017. We move on to our current weather, and we have a storm system developing, which is going to move into the upper Midwest, and it's going to become a major snowstorm, possibly a blizzard, with very strong winds. I'm talking gusts possibly up to hurricane force winds, 60, 70 miles an hour in the Dakotas, eastern Montana, and that's going to shift over into Minnesota, Iowa, and the Great Lakes region. And it could affect our weather as we move into Friday, late Friday, early Saturday. So I know most of you snow lovers are wondering, where is the snow? So I did my winter forecast earlier earlier in December rather, and I talked about the Madden-Julian Oscillation. I talked about the North Atlantic Oscillation. One oscillation I did not talk about, but it is a major influence on our weather here in the United States, is the Eastern Pacific Oscillation, or the EPO. As all or most of the oscillations have, it has a negative phase and it has a positive phase. So when it's in a negative phase, there is a ridge of high pressure in the northern Pacific, which creates a very mild weather and dry weather for Alaska. And with that, all the Arctic cold air has no choice but to come down into the northern and eastern United States. That is when we have our Arctic outbreaks. That is when you hear about the polar vortex coming down into our area, which we have not had this year. With that, you have a jet stream that sinks further south. Storm systems ride that jet stream and potentially up the coast, giving us our nor'easters. You go into a positive phase, and that is when there is a ridge in most of the United States giving us mild weather, some drier weather, but most of all, a zonal jet stream, which means most of our storms are moving west to east. Alaska, Western Canada, very wet, and higher elevations, very snowy. And we're going to see this with our storm that's moving into the Midwest right now. So as I mentioned, here is a picture. This is the GFS American model for tomorrow early evening or Thursday early evening, and you can see snow, as I mentioned, in the Dakotas, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and you can see those gradients of pressure, those lines coming very close together between that strong high pressure in Western Canada, that low that's in Wisconsin, creating very windy conditions. We move forward in time. If you notice, that low pressure is in Wisconsin. We move to early evening a day later on Friday. Still windy in the Midwest, but you can see that low pressure moved further north. So tomorrow, our EPO, or Eastern Pacific Oscillation, is actually expected to be slightly negative, but it's going to quickly turn positive from tomorrow night into the weekend, and that is why that low pressure shifted further north. And it's going to stay north, and it's going to just be a zonal flow west to east. That is what's going to keep us into the warmer weather, creating some rainfall for us Friday into Saturday. And here we are, Saturday early morning. You can see a lot of the rain off the coast, but Long Island, southern New Jersey could see some more moderate rain compared to most of us. Most of the area will just see showers, up to a half an inch of rain possible. But as I've mentioned, that low pressure is now in southern or southeastern Canada, creating some snowfall in that region, northern Michigan, northern New York, and into northern New England. On the back end of that, we can see some lake effect snow, but our temperatures should fall, but no precipitation. Maybe some lingering snowflakes on the back end, but nothing accumulating. Now, as I was talking about the Eastern Pacific Oscillation, there are some signs from the European model showing that we may end up in a negative phase. But this right here is a picture of the American model. We are Monday, January 18th, and you can see most of those lines representing our weather, our flow, most of those lines go in west to east, not really showing that trough in the eastern region of the United States, not really showing that ridge in the western area of the United States or northwestern area. Compared to the European model, still showing us in a positive phase. This is January 19th. Similar west to east flow, not showing that trough in the east, not showing that ridge in the west. But we move to the European January 22nd. You can start to see that trough digging down from Canada. Some of the winds, the jet stream picking up its speed. We could see some colder air sinking into the eastern portion of the United States, the Great Lakes in the northeast, and we expect that to dip a little further down. In summary, above average temperatures in our area through Saturday, mostly cloudy tomorrow, Thursday. High temperatures of 41 to 49 degrees from anywhere in our region, from Long Island, northern Jersey, Connecticut, southeastern New York. That'll be Thursday and Friday, those high temperatures. Light rain beginning Friday evening through Saturday morning, up to a half an inch of rain. And then Sunday we could see clearing with temperatures beginning to drop as that storm moves out. Our winds will be coming from the north, colder air will be coming in, and we will see average temperatures as of early next week in the upper 30s. As I said, the GFS or American model not showing an EPO change to the negative phase, but the European is showing it, and it is also showing a couple of storm chances riding up the coast as we move into the January 22nd to 25th time range. Hope you all have a good night, and I will be sending out a video soon. Please follow my page, like this video, and subscribe for more. I will send out more videos soon. This is Torrential Tom, signing off. Have a good night.